Hey folks, Alex here, 9 to 5 to Freedom. So glad you can join me in today's video. Let's talk about YIELDMAX, the two most popular funds that have been in the last few months here, and that is MSTY, MSTY versus ULTY, ULTY. So those are both YIELDMAX funds. Let's compare the two. Let's talk about my opinion, what I think, which one I prefer most, or do I like them both? So I'm so glad you guys could join me on today's video. Let's talk about, before we get into that, shout out to all my new subscribers. I'm almost at 1,600 subs. So glad you guys found this channel. And yeah, so let's talk about ULTY. For those folks who are new, ULTY is a YIELDMAX fund. They hold over 100 different holdings. So if we go to, let's see here, stock analysis. If you go in here, you can see YIELDMAX ULTY. And they give a breakdown of the largest holdings. Okay, so they have technology sector, financials, communication services, utilities, all this kind of stuff broken down. And these are some of the largest weights. First American Government Obligation Fund. Let's see here. They have Robinhood Markets, ASTS, MicroStrategy. Now that's interesting. MSTR is within ULTY. And all these other funds, SMCI, Coin, Reddit, all the nice movers, the very volatile ones that they're able to do good option calls on. Now, so ULTY right now is a weekly fund, and currently its distribution rate is floating around 84%, which is just bananas. Now, if we look at the last payouts, okay, it's a weekly fund, so it does pay every week. The last payout was over 10 cents. The one previous that was just shy of 10 cents, 9.6 cents, and that's per week per share. Okay, so let's just break it down for you guys. Okay, so if you have, let's say you have 1,000 shares of this fund, well, that would cost you right now, the floating price is around $6, and let's see here, 41 cents. Is that the closing price? 33. So it did pull back a little bit today, and we'll talk about that as well. But so if you had 1,000 shares, which would be $6,330, okay? Let's say you're going to make 9.5 to 10 cents. So let's just be more conservative, 0.095. That means that, I'm sorry, I'm doing this. If you had $1,000, okay, so if you have $1,000 divided by $6.33, okay, so you would have 158 shares. So if you had 158 shares times a weekly payout of 9.5 cents, you would make $15 a week. And multiply that by 52 weeks, that'll be roughly $780, which is an insane return on investment. Now, that's ULTY. So ULTY, like I said, it's holding lots of different funds. It's pretty well diversified, and I think that's why folks liking it. Now, if you look at the all-time chart, you see ULTY started out $20 back in March 24. Now, ULTY did change the way they ran the fund. Before, they paid out monthly, and the way that they did their options, they were paying over like $1, $2 every time they would generate some options, and their stock would not recover the dividend. Now, back in March, they redid their fund completely, overhauled. They started to actually hold some of the underlinings, like I showed you here, and they started to do a much better job, folks. They're not overpaying, and it's been very stable. Look at this. Lowest low was April 4th, $5.45, and ever since it's been climbing sideways and up. And that's, I think, what folks are noticing. Now, is the last 3 months enough time frame to go all in on ULTY? And that is the real question. Okay, so ULTY, let's see, if you go back in the history here, see it's paid over $1, and that was monthly. Now it's paying weekly. Now, let's talk about MSTY. This is another very popular one, MSTY. This one is on MicroStrategy. So if you look up MSTR stock, this is the underlier, okay, MSTR, and it's at its all-time high, folks, $426 a share. So MicroStrategy, it's a company that's been around for actually a very long time. It goes back to 1998, and right now, Michael Saylor, he's been buying up a lot of Bitcoin. So they have over $60 billion worth of Bitcoin in MicroStrategy, and that's, I guess, part of their strategy. Now, what YIELDMAX does is it does the options on MSTR, and it's able to pay us the dividend. So as you can see here, MSTY's dividend has dropped. Now, if you see at the chart, and this is a monthly payer, they had times where they paid $4, $3, $2, and the most recent one has been the least payment ever, $1.23. So I think a lot of folks are kind of concerned with what is going with MSTY. Now, if we look at the all-time chart, this fund started around a very similar time frame as ULTY in February, just at the tail of February 2024. Started at $21.60 a share. It's climbed up to 43, and it's been on this roller coaster ride. And we're kind of back to where it started back over a year ago. So almost a year and a half ago, this fund was the same price. Now, if you're bullish at the highs at 37.58 cents, you're probably not a very happy camper. But if you got in, let's say under $20 at $19, you've been really raking it in. So all of these funds, it's when you get in and how things shake out. Now, nobody has a crystal ball. If you do, you wouldn't be watching this channel. So if you like this channel, folks, by the way, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment on what you think about MSTY. Is this the end? Is MSTR the end? Look at this. Is this a bubble? Will this blow up, and are we going to go back to $20 a share on MicroStrategy? Or is Bitcoin holding so that $60 billion is enough to keep the momentum on this stock? All right, so that is the summary of the two funds. Okay, so both of them have been around the same time. And as you can see, the distribution on MSTY has dropped under ULTY. Now, ULTY, again, very cheap stock right now, just $6.33, as you can see here, and a pretty bad rap sheet. MSTY is back to where it started over a year ago, and it's been on a roller coaster ride. Will this go down? Will this go up? My analysis, and I'll just show you what I did, folks. If we go to my portfolio, those folks who are new, okay, so I have roughly $270,000 between all of these funds. Now I'm holding right now $112,000 on margin, and right now my largest position is in ULTY. So I have 25,000 shares, and the value here is $158,000, and I've lowered my MSTY position. I used to have $60,000 in MSTY, and I got a little bit nervous. I wasn't sure it looked like very close to a bubble on MSTR. Now it might go to $600. We don't know what MSTR is going to go to. But anyways, I wanted to diversify, and I guess that's my case for ULTY right now. And again, I think for me personally, none of this financial advice, for me personally, I'd rather be more diversified, and I feel like ULTY, it holds a portion of MSTR, so it's already including that. And ULTY was paying less dividend than MSTY until the most recent payout. So nobody knows what I guess the next MSTY payout is going to be. But if it's going to be juicy, maybe folks are going to jump back on it. But right now, as you can see, I'm green on both positions. So ULTY, we had a huge pullback on ULTY today, 1.25% pullback. So great opportunity to jump in, I guess. And I'm still in the green since I purchased it, and I got the dividend last week, so that was great. But MSTY, this is something that's interesting. MSTY pulled back 5% on Friday, and that was kind of shocking. Look at this pullback that happened. We went from almost $23 on Thursday, and then Friday we're down to $21.50. So a 5% pullback. If you have like $200,000, you know, that would sting. And that's I guess that was for me personally, that was a great time to unload some of the MSTY shares and get more into ULTY. But all of these folks are very volatile. They're all very risky, and I think you just have to watch them as a hawk, and that's really what I'm doing. I'm watching these stocks, see their performance, how they're paying out, are they recovering the dividend or not. So for me, I'm going to continue to hold a MSTY position, And right now, as you can see here, MSTY, I have a $25,000 position, over 1,100 shares, and we'll see how the next payout's going to be. Am I going to go more on Alty? Possibly, but I'm already kind of leveraged very high. Now, Fidelity has a 50% margin on Alty, so I have to be careful not to overload on Alty. Now, that's my analysis of MSTY versus Alty. And yeah, so I guess in conclusion, just to summarize it, I think for me personally, I want to have more diversification, and Alty seems to fit that criteria with them holding over 100 different funds and them really doing a really nice job since they've changed the way they've done these funds. So if we're going to see some huge volatility, I might reconsider holding so much in Alty. And right now I'm being very bullish, very risky. And MSTY, I want to continue to hold a position. I'm not sure how large I'm going to have it, but I think there's a lot of optimism around Bitcoin, and MSTR holding so much Bitcoin. I think that might also impact its run. So in a way, I feel like I'm still bullish on MSTY as well. Now, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like both? Do you hold Alty more than MSTY? Or do you just prefer to hold MSTY and you've been already burned by Alty and you don't want to go back to it? So let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe to this channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and we'll see you on the next video, folks. Take care.